Hey guys.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Welcome,
beautiful
welcome.
people.
Hi. Great to
Hi,
see
welcome
you.
everyone. How you all doing?
Hello.
Good to see your
Hi,
faces
Christy.
today.
Hi, Christy.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Edith. Hey, Joanne.
Hi, Renette. Nice to see you.
You can unmute a minute if you want to say hello to everybody. It's a great place to
Hi,
connect.
everyone.
Rowena
Everybody.
from
Hey,
Everybody.
New Zealand.
Hello.
Hello.
good to see your face.
This is from Germany. Woohoo.
Oh,
Hi,
we
Germany.
love Germany.
Hello.
Serena,
and
hello.
happy Tuesday.
Hi,
Oh my
Robbie.
gosh, look at all those lovely faces.
Yeah,
You
Jenny.
guys look
Jenny's on.
amazing. Well, welcome, welcome. We're happy to have you guys here with us this morning for me, because I'm in the US, but this evening for the UK. So we're just excited about this session with you. And we've got Dwee and Dwee Cooke on with us. And we're so honored to have you. And it's just going to be a rich time. And Janine's gonna bring an amazing word for us. And so but we wanted to really just welcome you. And yeah, we've been up to a lot collectively. Janine, you've been in South Africa and all over the place. And Rachel, you guys came to the US and I didn't see you, and that was just
So
like,
near yet so far, Elizabeth.
I know, what is this?
It didn't feel right.
I know, it was so weird. Yeah.
I had a beautiful hug from you through Yana, though.
Oh, I told her, I said, you got to hug her good for me. So
It was a really beautiful hug.
good. I'm glad. Yeah. So Janine, do you want to tell us all about South Africa?
Shall I
Yeah.
mute everyone first? Just and then team can unmute.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Here we
And we're
go.
back.
there you are.
Oh, well, we had the most amazing time in South Africa. I don't know how many of you saw, but me and Jen Arrington got invited to the Wells of Mem Mystic Community, Christ-centered Mystic Community, and for a worship conference, which was just like heaven on earth, to be honest, for me. It was like so many back-to-back sessions of worship, which I love. It reminded me so much of our Love Fest that we used to do kind of prior to the COVID days. But what was really sweet was it was just like the first expression that I've got to personally go to. I'm sure that there are many places like this across the world that I don't know about, but that I got to experience where there's a real embodiment of everything that we've been journeying out for the last 10 years. The worship team and the worship people who are actually on tonight. Hey guys, I can see you. We're just, I mean, I don't know why we got invited, because they've got it. They really have. The realms that they open up through the sound that they carry as a collective was just, it was just amazing. It was so easy to worship with them and go really high. We arc together so well, and there was no one leading. We just kind of flowed in and out, making space for everyone to bring a sound, bring a song. The musicians, there was loads of space for them to prophesy over their instruments, and they were just such a brilliant band, but just such a brilliant community. Like everyone in the room was engaged, which I've never seen before. They had these amazing legislation sticks. People were legislating different things in the courts of heaven. They had these amazing flags and they'd fly them in time with the music. And they had no chairs. There was only a few chairs at the back for the people that really needed to kind of sit. But the atmosphere there was really, really charged. It was beautiful. And They were really kind of going for the realms, and we went really high, especially on the Sunday. You know, we really went into that place of the sound of Melchizedek. So it was really awesome. They had these beautiful art all the way around the room, which Erica does, and they're like artwork, which are like portals. You just like look at them and you get kind of taken into the realm. Erica also kind of sings on the worship. Then they have this in-house carpenter who's busy making all these amazing Hebrew letters, and he makes all these kind of this beautiful kind of jewelry, which he engages which living letters are for you, and then he kind of gifts them to you. And they, in the worship, they will bring like the art forward, or they'll bring the living letters, and I don't know what was happening. I was just getting higher and higher. It was amazing. It was really cool. And then you had Bianca, who is their like intercession person, and she's such a beautiful person, and she would be asking the Lord like, which fragrance should I release, and she'd be like mixing and blending these oils, and there'll like be this oil diffusing, so it just was just hitting you on every level, like your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit, your eyes. You know, it was just really great. So we had an amazing time. It was life-changing for us as a family, and we really love the Wells of Men. They've got a YouTube channel where you can kind of watch their Sunday service if you want to engage with them, which I highly recommend. And actually, for our very last creative space for this year, which is on the 21st of November, we're going to have them all on. We're going to have Charles, we're going to have the worship people. They actually don't know this because I've only messaged Charles this afternoon. So to them.
It's news for everybody.
Surprise!
It's good news.
If they're free. But we want as many of them on as possible, because I just thought it was such a glorious expression, and it'd be really great to entangle and hear from them more. So that's my update. What about you, Rachel?
We went to the US, as Elizabeth said. It was our first trip back since the pandemic. I hate to use that as a reference point, but that's when it all stopped. And August, we were let back into the US, where we love the US, and we were there for Nancy Cohen's 75th birthday. Did I get that right? Yeah. Where we met Tanya. And I was just as you said to my name, I was trying to find her little picture because I want to pull her up. Hold on a second. There she is.
Look at Rachel doing all the admin as well.
There she is. I got to meet Tanya. It was glorious, wasn't it, Tanya?
It was fantastic. We had such an amazing time. I love just hugging your necks and new connection with you guys just in the physical, and we had a glorious time at the conference.
Yeah, we did.
Elevated.
Yeah, we were just talking before we came on about Tanya gave me some lovely gifts. I don't know if anyone knows, but she blends her own oils and sells them, and perfumes, and they're wonderful. So she gifted me these oils, and as she gave it to me, I just read the name of it. It was the oil was called Ruach, and this beautiful glory wave just rolled in over me, Tanya, and her husband that was there on the dinner table. And it was so sweet, wasn't it? We were just lost. There was no words. It was just glory and his presence. And then there was a breakout by the cookies, it was at the cookie table, and the glory broke out at the cookie table. So it was like perfect, wasn't it? It was wild, but so transformative as well. I love the glory.
Yeah, absolutely. Rachel adopted me as her new whack buddy.
Yes.
Yeah,
buddy. Wherever I go, I need one.
Yeah. The more whack buddies, the better, I think.
Yes.
I agree.
So that was our trip to the US. And I got to hang out with at a conference with Liz Wright as well after that in Winchester. So if anyone's here from Liz Wright's mentoring community, we were in Winchester together and it's just amazing, all these people bouncing around, all these different groups. So God's moving. It's beautiful. It was it was really fun.
So awesome. Rob, what have you been up to?
What haven't I been up to? Let me
Really?
always.
Maybe I shouldn't tell you. Yeah. Well, it's been an interesting season for me, actually, 'cause I've been on holiday, which was really, really needed. Got back with the holiday blues, which was not so good, you know. It's been a bit of a hard week, really. But what I realised was I needed to, as a creative, I felt that I needed to do something. I don't know, it's really hard to say briefly. I was just struggling to kind of get back into work, essentially, because I'm working with a couple of artists at the moment on some material, and I was really struggling, thinking, I just can't get going. I can't get going. And it was this morning, I just sat here and I just started playing around with an idea that came into my head yesterday morning. It was just a melody that popped in to my head, and I sung it into my phone. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to work for anyone just now. I'm just gonna see where this goes. And I had a really great morning because I ended up getting really deep into this idea, which is developed into this track, which I'll release at some point. But it kind of brought me out of that. Oh, I've got to kind of struggle with this, struggle with that. It brought me right out of that, and I figured out that what it was because I was being who I was supposed to be in that moment, and in that creative moment, I was having a bit of space for myself, really, just to be who I am, and just let's just play with these ideas. Doesn't matter that I'm not getting paid for it. There's no deadline.
That's
Let's just have a bit of space just to do this, and I felt so much better afterwards. It kind of made you think, really. Sometimes we get wrapped up in things we have to do, you know, we work and for other people, but if we just spend a bit of time on ourselves, sometimes it can be really therapeutic and really rewarding, you know.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's so good. I think it's such a key for creatives, you know.
Yeah.
We're working on all these different projects and all these different things, and you know, living the dream essentially as creatives, but at the same time, you know, with deadlines, etc., it can loom in on you, you know. And I think that when we do exactly what you just, you know, described, Rob, you know, we just come in and go, no, I'm going to come into this fresh place of a wide open space, you know, where there's no pressure and there's just the creativity of heaven, and there's just, you know, that life that's there, that's beyond all the confines or the structure of the other projects that we're doing. I think that's just exactly amazing. Rob, Tanya, what have you been up to? Creating all the art.
Creating all the art. Well, first I met Rachel in them, which was fantastic. But then we also, I've been doing quite a bit of painting, and there's some big projects coming up for the painting, which I'll share with you guys once it's finalized. But what's amazing about it is that the Lord's opening up this realm for me that I've been praying for so many years, that when people look at the art or observe the art, I want them to be saved and healed. It's a voice, it's a sound. And this project that is up and coming is a hospital.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So yeah, it's phenomenal. So there's something opening up in this realm that I think with us as creatives is that it's not just a pretty picture. It's not just a beautiful song. It's that we learn that we actually engaging the realm of manifestation.
Yes.
And we allow that to take place in our lives, then we become the instrument for it to come through. It's the ladder.
It is.
That's just something that I've been engaging with And
Amazing.
just seeing the realm opening up, and also with the new year that we're in, 5784, the door, right? It's learning how all of us take what our expression is and walking through that door that the Lord's opening up for us, and seeing what's on the other side of that. But I think part of that is for us to get out of our comfort zone. Because it takes risk, it takes faith, it takes boldness, and it takes courage to say, this is me. I've had these encounters lately where it's almost like my body, it's not necessarily my soul or my spirit, but it's my body saying, it's okay for you to see who I am. And as for us as the body of Christ, I think we need to come as the bride in that same space and say, it's okay for you to see who I am. And it's a beautiful place of healing.
Yeah. I think it's so important that creators realize that literally everything they create, with every breath, we're creating with every breath. With my words right now, I'm creating with the very frequency of who I am. I'm creating in the earth, and everything that we make with our hands, you know, with our, just everything about us, the expression of our lives carries frequency to bring justice, right? To heal, to make those wrong things right. And so everything that we make carries that frequency. And it's just like what you're saying, you know, you hang a painting in a hospital, it's much more than a painting. And I think that it's really time that the creatives step up and awaken to that reality. Because it's awakening to that reality that actually allows us to grab hold of the fullness and the power of that. And then we run with it. It fills us with this courage and this might and the boldness that you're talking about, to actually say, oh man, I am putting so much more out into this world than just a simple painting, than just a beautiful, you know, masterpiece of art. It's much more than that. It speaks, it lives. Light lives. Light doesn't stop. He said, let there be light, and let there be light. And it never stopped. He never called it back. And, you know, we know that color is light, sound is light, you know, the light, the whole spectrum, that which we can hear, which we can see, you know, all of these things, it goes on and on forever. It lives. And so, anyway, I'm not doing the preach today, but I just did that preach. So,
it's in you, girl. It's in you.
You know, it fires me up, Tanya, because it's
awesome.
It's so important for the creatives in this hour to realize and to just awaken to who they really are. You know, like creators, the dreamers. We're engaging the dreamers today. Awaken the dreamers to dream, right? Yeah, like wake up and dream again. And realize who you are in the earth. So with that said, you know, my small update on my stuff is, you know, doing, you know, traveling, doing some conferences, doing multiple projects, like Rob, like all of us, we're busy doing all of these things. I'm getting ready to go to Israel again. I spend a lot of time in Israel, and so I'll be in Israel for a month, and then I'm heading straight from Tel Aviv to Wales for the Creative Space, which can we just say, get yourself to that conference. It is going to be bonkers amazing. I think there's bonkers amazing. Like, I just like, this is going to be so crazy cool, you guys. So get your tickets. I think there are a few left, but space is limited, so you do want to snatch those up. This is going to be epic, you guys. Our first Creative Space conference, you know, converging all together in Wales. This is just going to be, I have no words for what I know this already is in the quantum realm,
Yeah.
but that, you know, like it's gonna be amazing. So get your tickets. Janine, you can
Yes,
give
somebody's asked,
details.
yeah, is it going to be streamed? We hope so. We're working on it. But we really want people to be in the room. And, you know, everything that I talked about with the Wells of Mem community, the WOM community, Wells of Mem, that's what we envisage the Creative Space Conference to be, that we're going to worship, we're going to go really high, but in amongst it's going to be all this kind of creativity and all the things that we bring. So everyone that comes is going to have the most amazing time. We're going to get whacked. We're going to push it out with the worship. We're going to go as high as we can. I really feel it's going to be so significant, arcing with Elizabeth and all that she carries. And we've got Joe Martin come in, everything that Rob brings. I mean, guys, you hear with the music he makes on here, which is, you know, it is awesome. But when he plays live, it's just something else. Realms open up, and we're hoping that Tanya comes as well. So it's just gonna be off the charts. So if you can get here, and make sure you book your accommodation, because there is a rugby match in Wales. There are some hotels available, but book your accommodation. That's really important. You will find them a little bit further out.
Awesome. Yes. Get there, get your tickets. You can find the link on the Creative Space Community group page.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, I don't know exactly where it is on there. Janine, is it easy to find?
It's on Eventbrite. I did a post, but what we'll do is we'll get Rob to create an event for it tomorrow.
Okay.
But it is on,
cool.
It's on my website. I have a Creative Space page where you can find all the dates. You can get links to the Facebook group, but also
Perfect.
the Creative Space Conference is on there as well.
Perfect. Good deal. Awesome. Okay, so one last thing before we move into some Ascension time, I did want to announce to you guys that registration for my Israel tour is now open. The Zion People Israel tour. It's going to be epic. And like I said, I'm in Israel a lot. We lead tours for you know, multiple ministries and, you know, people who want to have a tour, but this is just the three of us, myself, Yana and Darla, and we've got an amazing Israeli guide with us as well. She's just epic. And so the four of us, we've done a tour before. We'll do another one this October together, and it's just going to be something else. So you can go on my website, elizabethcooper.com, and get sort of a feel for what is this tour going to be, because we're going to build some space into this tour. It's not going to be, if it's your first time to Israel and you want to see site after site after site all day long every day, this probably is not the tour for you. We really want to take some time. We want to meditate in Safed, the mystical city. We want to, you know, we really want to take some time to really connect with the land, connect with each other, and you know, do that. So it'll be a little bit of a different flavor, but go on my website, you can get the information. But I just wanted to let you all know about that. And without further ado, let's hop into some Ascension. This track is that Rob is going to play is a track off of my live CD, which is all spontaneous Ascension worship. It's called We Have Come to the Mountain. It's on iTunes.
It's awesome.
And this thank you. This track is called Dwellers of Possibility. And it's really an invitation to dwell in that realm of possibility, and to dream again, and to realize what is in that realm. And so today, as we engage, as we open our hearts, with the Lord and just engage with him, the dreamer of all dreamers. Lord, we engage, Yahweh, with your heart. You are a dreamer. You are the dreamer. And so we engage with you, and we come into that space of awakening and awareness, and that space that lets our hearts breathe again so that we can dream again. Thank you, Lord.
Oh, let the goodness of God wash over you. Sit at the table, sit at that banqueting table. It never ends, because His goodness never ends. Oh, sit at the table. Oh, sit at that table. Oh, let the mysteries of the wine, oh, new colors we've never seen swirling around in the wine. We are the dwellers of possibility. We are the drinkers of wine. We are the dwellers of possibility. We're the drinkers of wine. Oh, let the government of possibility wash over you. Oh, let the government of possibility wash over you. And dream again, dream again. There's government in the wine. Dream again, dream again. Let the government of possibility wash over you. Let the government of holy, holy, holy wash over you. Let the government of possibility wash. Oh, Spirit of truth, Spirit of truth, Spirit of truth. Oh, Spirit of truth, we love you. Spirit of truth, we love you. We love you. We love you. Let the government of truth wash over you. There's government in the wine, in the wine, in the wine, in the wine, in the wine. Worlds and worlds and galaxies and cities. Opening up, coming alive. And I see sequences for solution, sequences for solution, mathematical, scientific, musical. Oh, sequences, color sequences, word sequences that will reorder, that will rebuild the earth. There are solutions. There are new sequences swirling around in the wine. Solutions for the earth. Not only solutions.
So, Father, we do engage with the newness, with the solutions, with the sequences, with the life, with the living letters, with your word that creates. The light of your word that makes up all we are and all we see. The power of the light of your word, which upholds and sustains the universe. We, as the dreamers, awaken to see the reality of all of this. And we lean into creating out of that space the reality of heaven on the earth. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. I want to just, as we're in this space and engaging here, I want to talk to you, Tanya, a bit about the art that you created last time. And you had mentioned even last time, I think, the correlation, the relationship between music, sound, and painting, art, what all of these things, that all of these facets of what we create that is seen and heard and felt in the earth, that as we connect it all together and realize that it draws power, the sound draws power from the visual draws power from the sound, and it arcs together in the earth. And so you had talked a bit about that. And I want you to just kind of open up for us kind of what happened with this painting of yours last time.
Okay, so this painting is painted, I don't know if I'll be able to show you guys, but it's painted on acrylic. So it's actually transparent. And the idea, we were talking last time about the glory, and we were talking about where we sometimes sit in our pain and in our traumas, and how do we overcome these things. And there's the scripture verse in Psalm that says, let me see if I can find it real quick. I wrote it down. There's two. There's one in Isaiah 45:3 that says, I will give you the treasures of darkness, the hoarded treasures, and the hidden riches of secret places, so that you may know that it is I, the Lord, the God of Israel, who calls you by name. And there is another part in Psalm 89 that says, out of the brightness before him, he passed in a thick cloud of darkness. And sometimes we look for the Lord in this beautiful glory bubble of, you know, and we don't allow ourselves to sit in our dark spaces, in those spaces that are so uncomfortable for us, that we sometimes run away from. And what this represents is that if we allow ourselves to become comfortable, not comfortable in the sense of you want to stay there, but comfortable enough to face it, then the glory will reveal itself out of the darkness, out of the cloud. And his glory cloud moves through the dark clouds in our lives. And it's if we allow to sit, a lot of my artwork has to do with shadow and light and shadow and light. It's because we sometimes run away from our deepest shadows. But if we allow those shadows just to be in that space, then the light can come and reveal the beauty and the mystery in those spaces. And that becomes the glory of Christ through us, the hope unto someone else. But we have to be like this piece of acrylic. We have to be vulnerable enough, transparent enough for that to come through in our lives. And when we're in these dark spaces, we're not transparent. We hide. And we don't say, hey, I have this or I have that. I need to work through this. We hide. But when we allow our hearts to open up, then in that the light can shine. And you'll find the beauty in the spaces. And what I was saying last time with understanding there's a synchronicity that comes when we allow the music and the sound of music and the art to synchronize with each other. Like I listen to you guys when I paint. Like I would listen to Rob and I would listen to Elizabeth and to Janine. And it's the sound. There's a scripture in Psalm 65 that says that the musicians went ahead and at the back. And there's the sound that we are covered in between, and there's the synchronicity that takes place. So this is how I put it. My voice is sound, but it comes through in color.
Yeah.
Your voice is sound, and it comes through in music. Your voice is sound that might come through in dancing. And there's no more separation. We shouldn't separate, oh, but you're an artist and you're a musician and you're a dancer. Right. There's no separation in the frequency that comes from that. It's one frequency sound, because we're dancing, speaking, painting with the intention of the heart of heaven. And that is the sound that goes out. So there's this vibrational sound that when I stop painting, this still echoes. And that's what is beautiful, is through the intention of my heart, that's heaven's heart. People can now observe this, and they can, like Janine says, it becomes a portal. It becomes a portal that you intended as an artist. With your music, you're intending something with it. And as we allow that intention to take place in our hearts, and we synchronize, like your voices are in this piece. And my voice is in this piece. And together as the body, the bride, it echoes heaven.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is so good. And such a huge key that we no longer separate. This is what will set apart this movement in the earth from any other creative movement, is when we actually come into the place where we understand the whole of frequency and the whole of being a creator. Not just being a creative proper, but that we as human beings are creators. And in every expression of our lives, we create. And that truth, that will set apart this movement from every other movement. And that is what will propel us forward into something new, where we're not just a co-op of creatives, but we're actually a movement of awakened dreamers and awakened creators who create. So Tanya, it is a huge key for, and a huge word of wisdom to the creators in this time, because that is really what the call is in the earth, is to step forward into actually something new, something we've not done before. We don't want to be just another co-op of creatives or artists or whatever, and we love all the expressions, but we're in this for something bigger. We're in this to create from Zion, and Zion, the ways of Zion don't separate. It's not a separation.
Come on.
It's echad. It's everything. There's distinction. There's distinction, but there isn't separation. So this is just huge.
I just want to add this, maybe, that we have to also understand that in this move is that this is a safe space for us to be transparent.
Yes.
That it's safe for us to be transparent, because what I have already gone through in my art career, all the problems, all the stuff we faced, all the stuff that we've overcome, we now give you a bowl of treasures that you can draw from. You can draw from Elizabeth, because she's gone through something, and that now becomes your treasure, and you can flow. So whatever it is, that this is a space, if you're struggling with something in your creative space, this is a place that you know that you can be transparent without judgment coming. Only healing, restoration, and upliftment, and elevation and expansion. This is a safe space to become your true identity created self.
Yes. Awesome. Yes. Yes to all of that. Yes. Amazing. Thank you, Tanya, so much. We're so honored to have you, and you really are just a beautiful forerunner and innovator in this space. And so we just love you, and so glad that you're with us. Janine, I'm going to toss it over to you, my friend, and let you take it from here. How's that?
Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, wow. I think it's been so rich already. And I love, you know, what is really cool this year is how things have evolved. You know, we've got kind of Tanya on, who is really connecting with the artists within our creative space group. Obviously, Elizabeth is just amazing in so many spheres, but she really carries poetry close in her heart. Me and Rob connect with the musicians, and Rachel carries business, architecture, design, so many other things. So, you know, it's so good how all these different things that the Lord is doing with us are kind of coming together. And I just wanted to, I'll keep this short because it has been so rich. And actually, you guys have said a lot of what I was going to bring anyway, which is cool. I love that synchronization that happens when we're together. But when we had Joe Martin on last time, he read his poem, and on the replay I will insert him actually reading the poem. He was I did ask him to come on tonight, but he's actually gigging, so you can watch it back. It's on YouTube. But we had an amazing session last time, and we spoke with Joe Martin, who is an architect, and he is a poet. He writes music. He's an artist, and he's just like this gushing geezer in the spirit right now. Like, so much creativity is coming out of him, but not just these little kind of a little nice picture. It's weighty. It's like what Tanya's just spoken about. You know, it's something that is in the realm of the spirit, and you know, you can hear it on the frequency of his poetry. And he read this poem, which started with a question, which was actually his own sort of internal world with the Lord. And it just said, why won't you dream, was like the question. And the poem ends with this invitation, what if you were to dream? And when he read it out, that just really hit my spirit. And I had all month, since we last met, I've had, what if we dared to dream? What would that look like? And it's been really strong in my spirit, and I've been thinking about it, I've been pondering, I've been engaging it for us as a community. And I just would really love us just to go on a bit of a journey tonight. I'm going to talk to Dwee and Dwee Cooke, who talk about dreams in the night. But I'm just going to take a bit of time now just to talk about daydreaming. And what I'd love is that as I sort of talk a little bit about that, let's all engage this together, because just like Tanya's artwork, this is a realm for us all to engage within Yahweh. You know, when we're creating, I feel like we're all union artists. There's a lot of union artistry kind of going on in this group. And we bring things from the unseen into the seen, but also there is an artistry in the realm of the spirit that we can all engage as a community. And I know that many of you are not in communities like the brilliant Wells of Men, you know, or you may not be here in Wales with us, you know, and for many people, you know, this is community, this is life. Mm-hmm. So I'd love us all just to be really intentional tonight and just see this open up and for us, because I really felt the invitation of the Father. What if we dared to dream? What would that look like? And even before then, I started intentionally calling the dreamers. Some of you may have noticed I changed the language on the flyers, and I did it on purpose. I started kind of calling the dreamers. And it kind of followed on from what Justin left us with. You know, when he was here, he spoke about this bright future, this bright, glorious future that we're all a part of, that is coming. But I've started to ask the Lord, like, how does that work? How can we lock in a more intentional way to that? And I really feel the daydreaming is a key for us in that. So daydreaming is that moment where we lose ourselves, where we, you know, it can be a moment, it can be minutes, it can be hours, it can be days, even for some people. It can be something that you kind of go back into. But that moment where we allow our mind to wander, where we get lost in thought during our waking hours, is actually a natural, common occurrence. And apparently, we spend a significant amount of our day doing daydreaming, which I didn't know. Studies suggest that we spend 30 to 50% of our waking hours can be in this state of daydreaming. And I find this fascinating because actually Yahweh has created us to naturally go into this state of daydreaming. Sometimes it can be just momentary, and we can have that solution, that spark, as Tanya, as Elizabeth's song actually said about patterns and solutions kind of coming together. It can cause that realm to open. But we can actually choose to kind of go into this state as well. And we do on many levels. We do sort of engage this state in meditation. We engage it in prayer. We also go into this state sometimes when we're doing our art as well. But also we can put ourselves in this state, which I'm going to call the flow state. So for me, it happens when I run. I find that when I'm running, and maybe for some people it'll be when they're in the shower, I go into a place where I go into what I call an expansive state, or maybe as Elizabeth put it, it's that spacious place. I love that psalm where it says he brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. That's one of the psalms. But it's where you find yourself in this place where you feel the infinite realms of possibilities. There's many of them. There's many paths, and you come out of the mundane, and you kind of go into that state. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So good.
Suddenly this spark of inspiration comes, and it allows us to escape from the everyday. And that many times for me, that's when like songs will come, or I will have this crazy idea. And I'll text Rachel. Because there's this shift in focus that happens. Okay, it's a shift from the external world into the internal world, into thoughts, imaginations. And we can go into many places. Okay, so we can go, sometimes our daydreams take us into the past. Sometimes they take us into the future. Sometimes they help us solve problems. Sometimes we engage the realm of Yahweh. You know, those of us who know the gospel and believe the gospel, you know, we're now born of the Spirit. So engaging that realm anchors us into the mind of Christ. It's a place where we can visualize, we can reflect, we can see, but it is a shift. It's a shift into potential, you know, and we can choose to do this at times, you know, as Colossians says, you know, we can set your mind on things above, not things of the earth. If you died and now your life is now hidden with Christ in God. And when Christ, who is your life, appears, then you will also appear with him in glory. So it's much more than just an initial thought, you know, of, oh, I'm just getting the download, or I'm just having a good idea. I think it's part of the realm of ascension that we have access to, that we actually can go somewhere. And this is a place which is outside of time, which is the most exciting thing, I think, because in that moment we can get a download of all of eternity in that moment. And it's a place of entanglement where we start to entangle with the mind of Yahweh, or we can if we go further into it. And that's why I say, you know, daydreaming can be a momentary thing, or it can be something that we lean into. It's a bit like meditation or prayer. You know, those things can put us into these states. That would be an example of when we choose to access this realm. But also throughout the day, as I read, 30 to 50% apparently, we are constantly getting triggered potentially into this realm, into this space by daydreaming, or we could get triggered into the past or other things. It's our choice to recognize that our mind is going somewhere, it's going on a journey. And where do we set it? Where are we going to set our compass? Because I think this is part of the practice, and also part of something in the morphogenic fields that we are leaning into and pushing into, because we can get set on autopilot, can't we? You know, where we allow our mind to trigger over the same things, or we can allow our mind, by setting the compass of it into the realm of the spirit, where we're entangled, into the mind of Christ, into the realm of infinite possibilities. You know, Jesus said, I and the Father are one.
Yeah.
He was entangled into the Father. And entanglement is just that process where there is this connection that allows access to thoughts and feelings, even if you're not in the same room as someone. That's what the theory of entanglement is. And so we have this amazing ability with daydreaming to get triggered into God, into his consciousness, into his mind, into his dreams.
That's right.
Good.
I love Isaiah. It says, and they were calling to one another, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, the whole earth is full of his glory. Like when we start going into the realm, even the heavens are singing God's dream, which is for his glory and his goodness to kind of cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. And the more that we get entangled and have the mindset of this daydreaming trigger in us into the realm, the more we will lean into God's dreams, the divine dreams for humanity, because we've got to start accessing, and we will start accessing, being architects of the future. And this is the doorway through which it happens. You know, it also happens in the night season, which we'll talk to Dwee and Tony about. But constantly, the Lord is engaging us. So for me, how it works is that we go into this place, or I go into this place where there is so many possibilities, the expansion, the spacious place. And sometimes I found that quite an overwhelming place, because it's like, what do you do? Which one? There are so many doors. There's so many potentials. And when I grew up, we got told that, the Lord orders your steps, and he does. I think there are divine moments, and I've definitely experienced in my life the times where God's wanted to put me on a certain path in a certain direction, and there was no way I was missing that path. It was like I had dreams, I had visions, angels, loads of people encouraging me. Like there's no way I was going to miss it unless I decided not to go on the pathway that God was opening up for me. It was clear. But most of the time when we go into this realm, this is the place where we start to be co-creators. And so he's wanting us to work with him in what he's saying to us. And I want to go back to what if we dared to dream? Like, what stops us from doing some of these dreams? Because I know that you all know exactly what I'm talking about, because it happens to us all. We have these amazing dreams, this idea, but sometimes there are things that stop us from accessing this and actually embodying it and manifesting it. Or it could be we don't know which one to choose. Where do we put our energy? Where do we put our focus? Is it the right time to engage these things? Or it could be that there are things within us that actually are stopping us, a little bit like what Tanya was speaking about. I found out recently that my nan, my mother's mother, had always wanted to be a singer, and she never knew the Lord in this realm anyway. In fact, she was really when we got saved as a family, she was very anti us talking about the Lord. And sometimes, you know, we're learning at the moment about epigenetics, and sometimes I've known that I've had things come up in me that are not my thoughts. I know they're not my thoughts, and you know, that's a part of things getting triggered in us. And sometimes even some of those things, before I knew that, I thought they were my thoughts, and they've stopped me from doing some things. You know, they were things in my family line that have come down. You know, some thoughts and feelings about engaging, releasing the sound that I know I don't think like that. I know I don't agree with that. So why am I having this kind of thought about it? And, you know, things like that can stop us. You know, they can be the things that stop us daring to dream, stop us being what Elizabeth was talking about, the beauty fully revealed, because Yahweh wants his beauty to shine through every single one of us.
Come on.
Every single one of us. There's not one person here that is not worthy, that hasn't got all that they need with it in them, because we reveal his beauty within us. That's what we're doing. And so we're at a time where we're learning how to co-create. And so for some of this, we've got to dare to dream. We've got to be brave. You know, exactly like Tanya was talking about. And what I'd love us to do for the rest of the year is to do that, is to start to dare to dream, and whatever that looks like in your sphere. You know, not letting, when these daydreams start to engage us, not letting our automatic thinking mindsets block us, be gateway blockers, or the things that we always think, or we always say, oh no, I couldn't do that, or I'm not going to do that, I haven't got the finances for that, I'm not that brave, I don't like the way I look, or, you know, whatever they may be. It's time to start to dare to dream. It's time to start to be revealed. It's time to start to go into the place and see who Yahweh says we are.
Come on.
And see the infinite possibilities. Because when we allow ourselves to go into that place, we stand at the gates and wisdom meets us there. You know, we've talked a lot about wisdom. I know Rachel Whelan's on here tonight. She loves wisdom. Rachel loves wisdom. So when we go into that realm, you know, we are met by wisdom. We are met with God's helper, God's artistry that can help us navigate the things. But the truth is that we are co-creating. So we do have our part to bring into this. God is not overriding and saying, I'm doing it all. He's looking for co-laborers, people that to work with him, for him to be revealed in his fullness. And every one of us has a different piece, or as we've said many times, a different part in the symphony. You know, when we allow ourselves to lean into this, we can, even in that moment, kind of have everything that we need in that realm, which can set us on the right path, the right course. I'm going to be brave myself and read just an encounter that I had with wisdom. It's a little bit raw. I don't normally do this, so I'm going to be brave. But as I've been engaging all month and asking the Lord, like, what stops us daring to dream? The Lord has really kind of been showing me like all the gateway blockers, all my own gateway blockers as well. And I can feel like that I don't have an issue in kind of going into the expanse, into the realm, into the place where there's infinite possibilities. The part that I'm learning with the Lord in the hidden place is having the wisdom to know how to outwork those things, to know like which one is now, which one is for this season, which is for this time, because there's just so many exciting things going on in his heart. And when you're up there, isn't there? It's like when you're up there, you see that it's a glorious future. When you're down here, not so much. But how are we going to become this beautiful, glorious bride that we all know we're a part of? So the Lord started to show me when I started to unpack it, some of my own triggers. And I started to meet and engage wisdom. And I realized that wisdom stands at the gates. And wisdom, it says in scripture that she calls out, that she's calling out as she's standing at the gates. But the way I engaged her was that I heard her serenade, maybe because I love song and singing and the sound. But when I go up into that expanse, if I want to lean further in, or I want to go back into a trigger, a spark, a daydream that the Lord has, where I need that infusion of wisdom, I see wisdom at the gates meeting me there. And sometimes I feel like, oh no, I couldn't, because there's all these things in the way. Or maybe we get triggered in the way of, you know, somebody's words trigger us. Maybe they trigger us in the automatic thinking, going round the mountain kind of way. Either way, we want to be triggered into the realm. So I just want to read this to you while we move on. So this is called Wisdom Serenade. There goes the ping that causes the sting. Trigger me into your song, wisdom. As there is an urge to release an instant reaction that could usher in distraction and cause contraction. Default patterns, mindless automatic reactions, restrictive thinking is not the testimony of evergreen life. Opting into the fruit of strife, the feeling, the need to survive, to be heard, to articulate and to stock take. This thing is not the sting that will guide me, as in this moment, wisdom, I hear your serenade. Instead of the sting, let it become a ring, a signal to hear you sing, creating potentialities, strings of possibilities, bringing visibility, new pathways, and new neural capacity. You, wisdom, stand at the gate, waiting for me. Even from a distance, I can hear your beauty. As I move towards the sweetness of your song, my heart is thankful for your surrounding, soothing tones. Tones that recalculate with accuracy into the frequency of harmony of all that is alive. You use a love filter that removes all the grit, the obstructions of all those nasty bits, creating beauty because you are an exquisite artist, and display your gifted mastery as you go about the remix of frequency and the sound of our lives. You stretch out your hand to us, wisdom, to lead us into the depths of Yahweh's light. As our mind enters into Yahweh's peace, we can now hear the instructional proverbs contained within wisdom's intricate melodies, the timeless wisdom of her song. Lyrics that heal, bring health, wealth, wisdom, and an inner glow that is seen on our skin, signaling this hidden life within. Wisdom, you are an embodiment, a crescendo, an amplification of beauty, a treasure to be found in the house of the Lord. As wisdom sings her strategies, she opens up worlds of vibrancy, far beyond our natural sensibility. These moments are like electricity, filled with limitless, exponential opportunity. Sound waves that reverberate over us, echoing a message that they are carrying of Yahweh's endless supply. We meet you at the gates where you help reconstruct, recalibrate us into the frequency of vibrancy of Yahweh's life in Wisdom Serenade. And so, Father, I just thank you, Lord, that you are unfolding something so deep, so vast. Lord, I pray that we'll get triggered into the realm, the spacious place. Lord, when our mind mindlessly wanders, when we hear your frequency in someone that we're talking to, when we feel the sting or the ping, let every situation trigger us into Wisdom Serenade. Lord, as a community, we want to co-create. We want to be architects of the future. We want to daydream, and we want to know the reality of the empowerment of the realm of heaven as we dream of a better, glorious, beautiful, bright future world. Lord, that we want to co-create with you. We want to partner with you in.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord, that your thoughts are not our thoughts, that your ways are not our ways. But we want to know what you think. We want to be entangled into you, into your thought, into your heart, into your song, into your world. We want to set our intention. We want to set our mind, our compass, to be daydreamers, to be ones who dare to dream and are not held back in any way. Wow. Thank you for that song that's still going on in that Isaiah saw. Thank you that all the prophets were triggered into the realm. They were triggered into the realm to see the eternal song. Isaiah was triggered to hear the holy, holy, worthy, worthy. Let the whole earth be filled with the glory. The whole earth is filled with the glory of God. And we just thank you for that revealing. The revealing from you in the day, but also the night. That in the day we hear you, and in the night we hear you. Thank you, Yahweh. Thank you, Yahweh. Thank you. So we're going to open it up now, guys. We're going to land that part there because I want to bring in Dwee and Tony. And, you know, if you've got any comments or you want to engage, you know, put it in your questions in the comments, because we want this to be a continual conversation that we have. I started it in the group, but and I know some people have already started putting some stuff out there about the dreams that they've had, and they're kind of going for it. You know, it's not just moving out of presumption or like, oh, we heard something, let's do it. We want to go deeper than that. We want to go in to where wisdom sits and speaks and sings over us, so that we know we're going into a place which is bringing in alignment and bringing all the resources that we need.
Mm-hmm.
We want to deal with those things that hold us back, which, you know, might be those triggers, so that we can move beyond that into the place of maturity, or a more mature place, and be in this expression, and keep on sharing your thoughts, you know, in the group Facebook group as well that we have. So let's bring on now Tony and Dwee Cooke.
I have spotlighted them, Janine.
Oh, there they are. I can see their beautiful faces. Welcome, Tony and Dwee. So I'm going to introduce them because Elizabeth has just met them tonight for the first time. This is Dwee and Tony Cooke, and actually they're really special people. They're the reason that I know Rob, because they lived in Cheltenham and they used to put on dream schools, of which I did some worship once at, and that was the time that I met Rob. So we love you guys. And you got to work with John Paul Jackson, who was a legend in a general in the earth, and still is engaging in the heavens very actively. But so for a long, ever since I've known you, and probably prior, you guys have been running in the UK and internationally a ministry where you interpret people's dreams, but you also open up like the night watch. I feel that's how I see it, that you're night watch specialist, your dream specialists, your night watch specialist. And I think that dreams are so important. You know, if I had a really vivid dream to start Creative Space, I wouldn't even be doing this if God hadn't come in and into my dreams. It was so clear. I felt his realm. That particular dream that I had wasn't a mystery. There was a lot of clarity on it, and you know, it set my course, you know, and it enabled me to link up with these guys who God had also been speaking into. But I'm really interested in hearing your story about how you got into dreams, but also like, how do we actively engage with the night watch more? So if you want us to just say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. How do we act? Well, how did we get into this? Probably through, it was John Paul Jackson. We were at a conference, weren't we?
Yeah, on prophecy.
On prophecy, the art of hearing God. It's a course he'd authored and he was teaching. And I think we were in Aberdeen, Banff.
We were just short of the Arctic Circle, I think.
Yeah, we drove a long way. Anyway, we went to him, we met him there. And what did he say at the end that you say?
Well, he just threw out a line, which was, oh, you might be interested to know, we've been doing outreach in Las Vegas, and we've had lines of people around the block. We've been interpreting their dreams. And something hit me in the chest. It was like, oh my gosh. And you?
Yeah, I think probably even more you, actually. But
which was ridiculous, because I hardly ever remember my dreams, even now.
Oh dear. Well, so we had a difficult year. I was ill and everything, but we turned up. We went back up a year later to that course, and I think it just blew us away. We learned so much from that amazing man. And we, it took us a long time to really grasp that the dreams are about the Father's heart for the dreamer. We don't really like formula and system. And so hearing that was good.
Yeah.
How much he loves us and how much he wants to communicate, because he can bypass quite a lot at night.
all the yes buts.
Yes.
You know. Oh yes, but
the trouble is, sometimes the dreams are in riddles and we wake up and we're none the wiser, but we're puzzled by it. And sometimes we're frightened by our dreams and whatever. So learning John Paul, he had the gift of interpretation of dreams. And somebody called Bishop David Pitches, I think he's still alive, that dear man, he once said to John Paul, so who are you training up? John Paul said, well, no one, it's just he said, what a pity, because when you die, that gift will die with you. So a word to all creatives, really, always remember and bring on and help the people. Don't just do it for yourself. It's your gift, but there are others. And I think you said it, you can pull from them. I love that. So John Paul studied all the Bible verses about dreams and then developed a course.
Which is amazing. Anyway, yeah, one of the things that I was hit while I'm having a meltdown here in my brain. Elizabeth was doing her thing. Was just a reminder of Daniel chapter 2, verse 29, which alludes to Yahweh as being the revealer of mysteries. And there's about 5 years of meditation on that one phrase. And I love what you were talking about, Janine, in terms of daydream. I mean, there's an obvious crossover here, but you're engaging with him on a more proactive basis, I would guess, and accessing him, his heart, his realms more proactively. Whereas when we sleep and we get a dream from him, a message from his heart, we're actually not engaging at all unless we're lucid dreaming, but that's a whole nother story we can talk about maybe one other. But we're not engaging, he is engaging our spirit. And I think one of the difficulties with dreams, and probably one of the reasons why lots of Christians run from them because they don't understand the whole deal, it's partly because the dream's realm is not just within the dream that you have dreamed last night or the previous month or whatever during sleep. It's a state, it's a realm. And we enter when we're interpreting. If we're interpreting properly, we enter that realm because we're engaging with the Holy Spirit. We're engaging with our mind, will, and emotions, our soul. And we're also engaging with our own spirit and the spirit of the dreamer. I mean, it's so fascinating. It's endlessly fascinating. And to know that God uses this to plop into our spirits as we sleep, words of love, words of direction, words of correction, words of healing, words of deliverance, etc., 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 is just unbelievable. It's incredible. And I love this thing you were talking about engaging with the daydreams. In a way, I wish there was another word for daydreaming. Because there is a crossover with dreams, but it's distinctly different in a way. And the crossover tends to come in the spirit, of course. But dreams, they're just so rich. And when you're working, interpreting with the spirit, there is a beauty about it because it can unlock a life just like that if you get it right. You know, if you get it right, you pick up the Father's heart's message for that dreamer, it can change a life completely. And it's such a privilege to be able to do that. And the key point about it is any idiot can do it. I mean, you know, seriously, any idiot can do it.
I think you mean anyone can do it.
There is a technique.
Yes.
There is a way of doing it which requires little brain. You just follow the process. But it's like at this level, and what we want to get to is that level. And that's where the spiritual comes in. So you have the mechanics, which is important because, you know, when we start off, we still don't have a clue in lots of cases, but when we first started, we had no idea about dreams at all. And most people don't. And we'd read the Bible, we'd been pastors, so we'd read it at least half a dozen times, not the whole Bible, of course, just one little bit.
So not true.
So we didn't even know there were any dreams in the Bible. I mean, seriously, we hadn't really engaged with that level. It was just like, because I didn't remember my dreams and still don't, they kind of just, you know, you pass over things you don't understand, you go to the next thing. And so it wasn't until we had our eyes opened, which sounds rather dramatic, but it's quite true, to the whole realm and the whole possibility of dreams. Then you look in the Bible again, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. And you think, well, how did I miss that one? Well, you know, how did I miss a lot of stuff in the Bible?
Actually, just to say, Janine, is really important, I think, that you are calling the dreamers and awakening the dreamers, because it is quite possible, I think, for many people to read the Bible and completely skip over the dream. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that happened. Oh, why did Joseph go to why did he pop off to Egypt with Jesus overnight? You know, you just don't really think it through and you don't engage with it. So I think that's right. I think you're right to actually call them in the spirit, pull it out of the quantum field for them.
Wow.
For those that don't know this, you can ponder on this. Go away and decide, either guesswork or look it up, how many dreams, life-changing, earth-shattering dreams there are in the first two chapters of Matthew. That's your little homework job. And you'll be amazed, because most people have no idea. Just have a look at it. First two chapters of Matthew. How many dreams, life-changing dreams are there? God reveals his plans to his prophets through prophecy, etc. But also every major move in the Bible, every major event was preceded by a dream. It's really vital. Did you want to share? Well, you're going to have to, aren't you? You want to share about your dream that you had on?
Oh yeah,
about,
that one.
When was it?
I was thinking about that.
September.
This is very relevant to UK people, perhaps, but it was 8th of September, 2022. And actually, I had this dream really early in the night. I mean, like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. It was so vivid, it woke me up. And so the 8th of September, so around about midday, I happened to hear that the media were announcing that doctors were a little bit concerned about the Queen. And this dream, and I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, I haven't told you the dream, I probably should.
I think it's a good idea.
So we live near the water, we live near the sea, and I was in the dream, there I was sort of squatting on the beach, which would be very difficult for me to do. My knees wouldn't like that at all. But there I was, right down, looking in the dream at the ground. I was quite concerned because I knew there was something really profound about to happen. And it was like I could almost hear the rumble. I could almost hear the plates moving. But So I was concerned and interested, and a lady walked up to me in the dream, and she is a real person. She's called Rebecca King, and some of the people on here will know who I mean. We do know her. She lives sort of in Canada and in Kent, but anyway, she's got a prophetic ministry. So she walked up to me, which was very strange because I hadn't spoken to her for ages. On the dream, this is all about the dream, in case you think, sorry if I've wandered off. Anyway, so Rebecca King walks up to me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, something's strange is about to happen. I don't know." And then I looked at her, and she had some young people with her, and they had still in the dream, and they had water bottles. Water bottles, okay, but they were empty. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh my goodness, these bottles are empty. You've got to go and fill them. Don't fill them up here in the sea. These kids need to have their water bottles filled." End of dream. So
I think originally you said there were 12, which is interesting.
But yeah, I did, didn't I? Mm-hmm. You forget after. I mean, I think I wrote this down, but so now I hear the Queen's dying. Oh no, the Queen's ill. And then so I put the television on. Then lots of people getting planes up to Balmoral of her family. And then 6 o'clock, we're told she's died. Long live the King. And I thought, oh, that must be why I dreamt about Rebecca King, because I was dreaming of what was going to happen that day. And on one level, I really was. I think I took it at the time that actually I'd been shown what was about to happen. And it did happen. And the thing that I would title that dream, though, now is "Get Ready," because
shift's coming.
The shift that I saw was huge, and it's happening, and it's profound. I think about that dream a lot because I think the foundation or the things that I grew up with, and I'm, as Rob kindly pointed out earlier this evening, I'm not that young. The things I grew up with are all under threat. They're all disappearing. And I am wanting to be in the realm of the impossible. I don't want to live and worry about all that stuff. I want to live for a long time. There's a job to do. God's got so much, and listening tonight has been so rich to every single one of you. It's just been a joy. So that dream has not left me. Some dreams do, and you should write them down. That dream was more like it was more like a foretelling, but also a warning. I think hidden in there, we weren't ready. We were really not ready.
Kind of another sign of a God dream. It's multi-layered, which of course he is, and multifaceted. Just as a quickie, not all dreams are from God, just in case you're not aware of that. Not all dreams are from God. Some come from your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, and some obviously come from the enemy, who we don't take any notice of, really. Well, we do, because we can use the energy from that to proclaim the positive. So we use those. But anyway, what else are you going to say?
Well, I think probably did you want to, Tony has started just before COVID, actually. You launched an online dream interpretation academy. And it's a website, because everything's online. And in fact, somebody's on here tonight, aren't they, who's part of the academy?
Sure.
And we do, you do, I mostly leave the training and stuff now to you, because I would talk too much and then he'd have to it was easy if I wasn't there.
My lips are sealed. My lips are sealed.
But we do. So he does training, and they interpret dreams quite regularly, twice a month, I think. And we also do dream outreach online, and we have teams, and we have tremendous fun. Our little team is sitting in a breakout room, and suddenly somebody appears and they have a dream, and we get on and interpret it.
Well, it's
Oh.
not just a little team. We normally field about 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah,
so.
but 3 or 4 of us at a time. We used to get up in the middle of the night and get up to London to do Premier Radio Dreams, and we were slotted in with the breakfast show, so we had to contend with the news, traffic, advertisements, announcements, and say, oh, and here are Tony and Dwee, and then you'd have somebody phoning in with a dream. So we loved that. We loved that. It was exhausting, but it was training as well.
It's very good. We learnt a lot very quickly.
Yeah. So
Janine, where we've gone off in one direction. Where are you wanting to pull us back into?
Yeah, and is it time to us to, what do you want us to do?
Well, first of all, I think that was great. I love you guys so much. You're brilliant. And it's so good to hear what you're doing as well. I think it's great for people to know that if they are getting dreams, they can connect in. And I think, Rob, you posted the link, so thanks for that in the chat.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. So if anyone does have dreams and they need kind of help understanding and deciphering them, and it's a God dream, that the Lord is speaking to you, connect with these guys, because they have got wisdom and they can help you kind of discern, is it a dream where I'm just defragging? I call it defragging. I don't know if this is a dream to actual terminology. Could be Janine terminology, but sometimes I know I'm working through my responses in the day at night. I know that's not necessarily a God dream. Other times God's teaching me, and I know, I could have the same kind of situation where I'm working through my responses in the day and the Lord is showing me, look, not so good there. Or, he's wanting me to hear what he's wanting to say. And there's other dreams which are strategic dreams, strategy dreams, the dreams that line up with putting you on your course, setting the compass, and so I think it's love. We need it all. We need to be just hearing God all the time, like in the day, in the night. And I believe that is what we have access to. I think no separation means that sometimes I rest and that's okay in the night. But also, if I want to engage God, I can have that moment. I can say, Lord, speak to me tonight. I want to hear your voice. And I believe he will. Good. If I want him to take me places, I believe he will. Yeah, and sometimes there's dreams. Sometimes we're engaging even deeper than that, and we're going places in the realms of the spirit. This is just things that I really want to talk about as we engage creativity, because I think these are really important things for us to do and to talk about, so we start framing up the life that we all live as just life. This is normal life. This is the life of the believer. This is the life of the people that believe and are born of the Spirit. And one thing, there are some practical things that we can do for daydreaming and night dreaming, and that is, getting back to the age-old thing that we all used to do in the 90s, which is journaling. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I used to journal back in the 90s. Yeah, let's start journaling again. That would be good. And dream boards, doing those things where we are actually letting ourselves have a go at dreaming. I listened to something recently where it said, what would if you had nothing to hold you back and you had all the resources and all the abilities you need, what would that person do? What would that version of you do? And once actually I had an engagement in the spirit with Kim Clement, and he used to sing this song, and he said, I'm somewhere in the future and I look much better than I look right now. And that's been coming back to me as I've been engaging this realm of daydreaming. I thought, yes, I am in. There's a version of me which has no limitations, and that version looks much better than I look right now.
Yeah. Well, you're reverse aging, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. We want to really kind of be set in our positioning ourselves to do all this. You know, we're sons, we're kings, we're priests, and we are positioned to live this amazing life with Yahweh. And I think it's a good place to land it, but I really encourage people to connect with Dwee and Tony and with dreaming. And one thing I'll just say is I heard as well on a different podcast I was listening to, I think it was Jonathan Helzer, actually. He said that the Lord said to him, can I be, he said it in the context of the Alpha and Omega, but we might say it in the Aleph and the Tav. And he said, in the morning, can you say, you're my Aleph, and in the night, the Alpha and Omega, sorry. What is it? Is it the Aleph and the Tav, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
I had that moment suddenly when I was like, oh, is that the right Hebrew letter? Oh. There are so many of them. Can I be the Tav? You know, he is the beginning, he is the end, he's the author, he's the finisher of every waking moment, of every waking day. And we can engage him first thing as the Aleph.
That's lovely.
And in the night as the Tav, that he can be our first word, our first thought, our first breath. And it'd be so good if we just start doing that as a community and feeding back like how that affects all these amazing things that we're all engaging. So I'll throw it back to you, Elizabeth, to finish.
Yeah, this has just been so good. Thank you, Tony and Dwee. You guys are just amazing. And like I said in the beginning, we know each other online, but this is our first face-to-face. So this has been really fun.
Guys,
but
we love you.
Just love and honor you both for everything you are.
We honor this creative space. Let everybody know that. I've been on and off it for a while, but I really love these Welsh people and what they do, and the others. Oh yeah, the guy from Cheltenham. Sorry,
I have some Welsh in me. So okay,
it's a platform.
We can pray for you. Second.
It's a platform, and I love the way you're being taken. So the way excuse me, the way you're being led. I just love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She never does it normally, I tell you.
That's why we love her.
That's why I love her too.
Anyway, Rachel, I'm sorry.
Amazing. Well, you guys, this has been so rich, just from beginning to end, from the Aleph to the Tav. It's been so rich, so beautiful. We are so looking forward to seeing you all in person, whoever can make it, at our Creative Space conference in Wales. What are the dates again, Janine? I know I'm coming, but
the 3rd and the 4th of November.
The 3rd and the 4th of November.
Elizabeth will be there.
And I will be there. I will be there. I promise you. But this is going to be just an amazing time together. And if you can't, and we end up being able to live stream, please join us on the live stream. Just get as close as you can. If you can come in person, but join however you can. And then we will, of course, be having our last creative space of the year on, is it the 21st, Janine?
21st, yeah, and we'll have the beautiful Wells of Men people with us.
Yay. Awesome.
And Charles is amazing. His teaching, he does these. If you haven't found Charles' podcasts, that in fact, he did one on, I think somebody put it in the chat, dreams this week. And I voice memoed him and said, we're all doing dreams. It's amazing how all this synergy is happening. But I tell you what, they're very short, but they are like so rich. There's so much in them. So if you love a short, meaty podcast, find him on Spotify. They're amazing. So he's going to be with us.
Sorry, I thought you meant they were little. You said they're all very short. Sorry.
Time-wise.
Long.
He's actually really tall. He's about 6 foot.
I believe.
The miniature people of South Africa. No, they're all normal size. They're all normal.
I love it.
Yes.
They're huge.
Yes, they are huge. Sorry.
Oh,
Get
man.
me whacked.
Well, so join us for the little people of South Africa coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, Dwee.
And we can't wait to see you all again, whether it's in person or online. We love you. We're going to say have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your night, wherever you are. We bless you.
Yeah, let's see everyone's faces. And
Yeah,
mute
let's see your faces. And we'll say goodbye.
Oh.
Bless you guys.
Oh,
We love you,
everybody.
Thank you for being with
love you
us.
so much.
So
We
good.
love you so much.
So much.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys.
Love you. Keep
guys.
creating. Keep
Love
posting.
you. Love you.
Yeah, keep creating.
We'll see you
Love
soon.
to all. Love to all.
Bye.
Blessings.
Love back at you.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone.